What's up, everybody? I'm Drifty from Driftwood Gaming. We are going to do a new little mini-series thing. Let's make a monster. How about you and me? Let's make a monster. Alright, we're going to basically go through our images, pick a monster, and go through creating the skills for that monster, create the items for that monster, create the stats for the monster. But before we do that, we have to think about what area are we going to encounter this monster. So I got this map here from Buried in Ashes. Is the person who made this map for me a long time ago and really didn't put it into much of a good use, so we're actually going to use it in this project. So in the world here, I think we'll probably put this right here, or maybe I'll do like a little, it sort of looks like a ruined tower, so let's maybe add that real quick. And I'm sure I could find something like this might work fine. Seems to have like a forest background, or setting type thing. So what we can do is go to the draw layer and let's just add a little, boom, a little ruined tower right there. Do we have one with, well, this kind of looks nice too. What if we do that? Maybe that, but it's not really that tall, right? It looks more ruined than that. So let's go with that little one right there. So we'll go with that, and then so this is going to be our setting. We're going to jump into map by Buried in Ashes. Yeah, perfect. So let's see, this is more of like it's kind of like a cave now. That's going to be a cave, but we're going to design 3 enemies for every layer, or maybe 3 for the first, 2 for the second, and then mix in one from the last one if they match up right. So we've got these 3 levels. I'll zoom out just a little bit so you can see the maps we're working at. So what we really want to do is kind of get the theme of what are we going to encounter in here. On these maps, or on the inside maps, I'm going to do T-Rex lighting, because I think it would be good to have it like kind of nice and dark. And it's not really like a maze or anything, so you're not going to get lost. But it'd be good to have some ambiance in here. So what kind of enemies are we going to encounter in here? I'm thinking at least some kind of bats, or maybe some sort of elemental thing. And then maybe even some mummies or something in this area down here. We might have to edit the map a little bit. Maybe even make a switch somewhere that opens up the wall down here. That's what I'm thinking of doing. So on this first level, I'm probably going to make it so that you can climb up from one of the bottom areas, and then like get a treasure chest up here, or maybe make this part of an objective for the quest. But I haven't done any of the storyline yet. I'm going to put that together at the end and kind of link all of the maps and everything together. So yeah, we'll probably put like an NPC or objective here and a treasure chest here. But what are we going to encounter? So let's make a monster. On this map, we can have an idea of what map we're going to make. Let's jump into the database. Let's look at our images that we've got and think about, would we encounter this beast or this monster or this thing on this map? So nope, maybe something like that, like a fish mutant man thing. I don't know, maybe more like a water swampy area. This isn't so much a swamp, it's sort of just like a field with a ruined tower on it. Maybe that in the lower levels. Scroll through some of the art, you can see a lot of this is from VX Ace. A lot of it's from Akashix I've got. A lot of it was built into the MV engine. But yeah, we're basically going to scroll down through and find something. We need to pick 3. I don't know if we'll do all 3 in this. We'll do 1. At least 1 full, complete, let's make a monster. I'm thinking none of these robot things. Those are Akashic ones, the robot ones. Maybe... that's kind of... Whoa, I kind of like that. This little imp. This little imp might work. Lizard, reptile imp. So we'll come back to this one. This will be our placeholder for now, but let's see if we can... We got a lot of images to scroll through. We'll find something cool. That looks like a boss, but I usually keep all my bosses SV actors, which are animated bosses. And I could always use more of those. There are some I've seen on the forums, but I don't know if I want to grab them yet. Akashix is making some more. That's always good. And I'm already using a lot of Akashix animated battlers. Little things, like some small critters. We're not looking for like a boss battle, really. We're kind of looking for some trash mobs, you know, some simple trash mobs. That would work, actually. Little cat or moth. Keep scrolling down here. We've got a lot of enemies to choose from, which is good. I've been collecting resources for the project for the past few months and making this into like a master project. I also backed it up a week ago. I'm gonna have to back it up again pretty soon. That's another tip I can give you guys. You guys probably already know you want to back up your projects. Probably once a week is good. These little caterpillars, for some reason, I think they would fit right. Some insects. Maybe that might work. This little dragonfly. Got a lot to choose from. But ultimately, this is all flavor stuff, right? Let's go ahead and just we'll pick this one. We'll definitely change. We'll definitely add more stuff. So even if we don't include this one, we'll make this monster. So we're on this kind of grasslands tower. We'll pick a color for him. Probably these creatures, if they were, they would probably be about the same color as the surrounding environment. So we'll just keep him like a green tint. Or a hue, rather. Yeah, we'll give him like a green one. Alright. So the naming is not super important right now. But there are some cool generators. I think I've showed you guys this generator before. Fantasy name generators. But let's go ahead and find a name for this guy. Other names, and then we'll go to like bug names, bug species names, noxious fly, champion tick, volatile, audience parasite, primal. I like that, primal. We'll take that word and let's find another second one. Primal. We could even use primal mantis. Mayfly, termite, hopper. No, not really hopper. Parasites, but let's do primal mantis for the sake of time. We'll do primal mantis. That'll be the name of our mod. Okay, for the skills, we're going to get rid of the attack skill. We're going to create some custom skills for our enemy because it'd be a good idea to kind of like customize it a bit, right? So we're going to create a new skill. Let's go to where I have my enemy skills. Do I already have some skills made that he would use? Maybe, but I still want to make some other ones, some custom ones for it. He might use critical. Many enemies could use that skill. Let's make a new one right here. Okay, so I'm gonna classify this as enemy skill. We'll make this first one like I'm thinking he's got these big claws on his hand, right? So he might have like some sort of slashing effect. So I'm gonna give him scope of one. This skill will have one enemy. Occasion. All of these abilities will be battle screen only. This will be a physical attack. Let's pick an icon for this skill. This skill is going to have. We can scroll down. It really doesn't matter too much, and you shouldn't spend too much time on one little detail. So I'm gonna go with the first thing that I saw that looked like it might work. This little, I don't even know what that is, but it's gonna work. And we're gonna call something. We need like a slashing. We could even make it piercing because it's got a point on it. Yeah, we'll go slashing and piercing attack. It'll be physical slashing, piercing attack. What's a name for this attack? We can think of something. We'll call it drill. We'll call it, yeah, one word is perfect. We can change the name if we think of a better one later on. We could always hit that generator up again for random skill names. There's a lot of good stuff there. Let's. We don't need a description because the player's not going to see it. This is just going to be for the enemy. If we do make a blue mage later on that learns these skills, then we can add the description when we need it. All right, so we're going to skip ahead. Now for this skill, you know, he's not going to have a basic attack, so we don't really want to make it require TP, really, because if he doesn't have the ability to generate TP, then he's not going to be able to use his skills. On the other end, we could either make this a stronger ability that costs TP or a weaker ability that generates TP. And I think this will be one of those weaker skills that generate TP. So we're going to go to TP gain and we're going to give this skill the regular TP gain that a normal attack would give. So 10 TP for this. So we're going to say no cost, but we're going to give it a 10 TP gain. It's a physical attack. We'll have to make an animation. We're going to say uses. We don't really need to specify, but that's all right. let's say it's HP damage, we're going to say physical, but we want to make multiple elements. Multiple elements. With this is Yanfly's skill core. It was in my top 10 list of 2016 plugins for Yanfly. One of my favorite plugins. We want to do, this is an attack that's physical damage, it's slashing damage, and it's also going to be piercing damage. Well, drill, would drill be, now that we gave it a name, we've kind of customized it a little bit more. Got to think about it. Would drill be slashing? I don't think so. Drill's probably not slashing. So let's actually cut out the slashing, and it's going to be physical piercing attack. So this is, I think, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. So 15. We'll go physical and then also piercing. And double check, we could always look at our types to look at the number. If I want piercing, that is 15. That's right. Cool. We could give it an action sequence, but we're not going to do that because this will be a long episode if I do that. Super long. Maybe I'll do that. I'm thinking about some new ideas for the channel. Some interesting stuff. We've got to keep things adapting and changing. So are we going to allow critical on this? Absolutely. It's a drill. You know, it's definitely something that's subject to critical. We could even actually, I would make it cost EP if I was going to give it a bonus to critical attack or critical damage, which we can use Yanfly's critical core, but we won't worry about that right now. We're going to give it a simple a.atk times, we'll say 3. Now we also want to give it a base value because we're going to use the enemy levels plugin, and you can use it if you want to. If not, you'll just change the stats around to work for your game. Of course, a lot of this will be changed around for your game, but this is going to be a good template for you guys to use. So we'll say it's going to do 75 plus the user's attack times 3, and then let's give some element of randomness to it, or actually let's just call on another parameter. Let's say the user's luck. We're not going to give it a multiple. We're just going to say it's attack and the luck, depending on what part of the, you hit. So we'll give two parameters on that. So 75 plus user's attack times 3 plus user's luck. It's a good thing I went over that. Times luck, that would have been some crazy damage. All right, so that's good, right? Let's look. What else do we need? An animation. So we'll jump over. We're going to do it all. Remember in that video I made where I showed you guys how to quickly do animation state effects? Well, the same thing applies from just creating animations that you don't plan to use for states. You can easily get... That doesn't look like a drill, but we're going to change it up. We want something that's more of like a one-hitter, or... Nope, not so much that. Maybe the piercing thing would be a good little... Right, we like that, and that would work, and you could even use that if you want to make this shorter. I'm going to make a quick custom one. It shouldn't take very long at all. We're going to go ahead and select an empty spot, paste it there, and then we're going to call it drill. And I'm going to just give it the same name. That way when I reference this later, it's going to be easy for me to tell what it was for. Now we're going to change up the... Does that look like drill? That could be drill. Looks more like of a slash thing. I'm looking for something different. That's kind of cool. That actually looks really neat, but let's just look around a little bit more. I think we could find a better one. I didn't mean to do that, but let's see what happens. Nope, that's definitely not what. Let's go to this one. Does that look like drill? Not really. It looks like a wind attack. And this is for jokes. No, let's find something a little more simple. This little arrow, it could possibly work. Well, it kind of jumps up and down. We can manually edit that. I know how to fix that, but I don't really want to put the time in for that. That looks really cool, but not for the skill we're using. Not for the theme. That's perfect. Attack 5. So we just changed one to attack 5, and it just changed it a little bit. I really like that. We're going to change the sound effect. So the thunder one works fine, but we want to customize it a little bit, right? So we'll just switch it to like something different. And then we'll lower the pitch. Something like more of a earthy sound. Let's go to the earth, or even explosion. We'll go back to that in a second. That's fine. I like that. You can imagine a drill. All right, so we'll go with that. And then the sword one, we can change that to like a hit effect. So let's go to like attack. No, those are some those, to me, these attack sounds kind of sound like from Dragon Quest for some reason, like when you attack slimes. Oh no, that's too crazy. There we go. And then let's put it together. Perfect. Right. Now we'll edit this screen flash. Actually, we don't even need to mess with it. That's fine. We'll just make it a little less intense, I guess. Boom. Perfect. So we got our drill animation. We'll jump back to our skills, change that animation to our drill animation. We've got our custom skill. We'll make a couple more because we want to give our enemy quite a few different abilities, because it'll be at least 3. Let's just go with at least 3 abilities. So we'll give him drill, and then what else? And this will be his primary attack, so we'll go rating 5. What else would this enemy possibly have? So that's like their piercing attack when they drill you with like the tip of their scythe or their scythe or whatever. A slashing attack. I was thinking they've got these like sword-like hands. They probably would have some sort of way to slash. So let's create a new skill. Actually, we can use this last one as a template. Copy, paste it. Let's change the icon. Now we want something that's going to be like a slashing attack. We'll have to think of a name for it real quick. We could always reference that. I don't know, that kind of looks right. I mean, you don't want to get too hung up on one thing. So let's go maybe sweep. Have I already made one that's called sweep? I feel like I've already made sweep. I made swipe. Okay, yeah, I don't see it. So let's go ahead and make a skill called sweep. And since it's more like of a wide, I think of like a wide attack, we could even give this one like an AoE attack. So instead of one enemy, we'll say all enemies. Now that's going to make it really strong because you've got 6 party members, right? So we definitely need to nerf that damage formula. On top of that, we know it's going to hit 6 people. So we don't want him to just spam that. It's going to make the enemy super hard, but we want to give him that ability to do that. What we're actually going to do is, instead of giving it a TP gain, we're going to give it a TP cost of 20. That way we don't have to actually nerf the damage formula too much, because he's not going to be able to spam this because it's going to cost TP to use. So what we're going to do is turn this to 25 plus attack times 2, and then we'll say agility plus agility. We'll let that critical, sure. Now this is not going to do piercing damage, it's going to do slashing damage. So this is 15. We'll say we're going to change the multiple elements from 15 to 14. So it's physical slashing damage to everybody, all enemies. We don't need a description. That looks good. So we don't want to use that animation. So let's find an animation for sweep. Jump over to animations really quickly. We'll do it quicker this time. So we'll find like maybe something that we wouldn't even expect to use for like a sweeping attack. Like, this doesn't look like a sweeping attack at all. It's also too long, but we're going to use it as a template just to see if we can. Now, where are these sprites? This small, yeah, that's perfect. The less animations on a template, the better, or on the sprite sheet, because you know those will be able to be used. When you have a large sprite sheet and some of the bottom ones are being used, the templates don't always work. So we're going to go with maybe something like this. We're going to try a few things. Nope, but that's not going to work unless we delete that frame. We can delete the first 2 frames. That's also set to a screen. We're going to change that to center, and we're going to have to change this quite a bit, actually. We're going to go, let's see what that looks like. That's interesting. It's kind of like a... We'll have to change the sound effects, obviously. What does this look like? We can shorten that. Let's actually get rid of the first one, the second one. Let's start right there. Boom, boom. Because it's going to animate 6 times for each part, once for each party member. So we don't want it to just dot, 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 dot. That's way too long. So we're going to get rid of that. All of these extra frames, we want to do like maybe 10 frames. Boom, boom. Actually, even shorter. We're just going to do, because it's going to do 6 times. So we just want it to go like that. And maybe I can cut and paste certain frames. So I actually want this frame. Let's cut that, go to the top and paste that frame. So we start with that one, then that one, and that one, that one. Do I want these? You know what? It needs to be at least a few frames. We're going to keep that. Let's get rid of these wind sound effects. We don't need that many flashing. We don't even have that many frames. So boom, boom. We want a sound effect though. So on maybe the first or the fourth, we'll go back to the second frame and let's put a sound effect on this slashing animation. Nope, nope. Something. Maybe the wind would work for it. Yeah, gun. Definitely the gun. That might work. Sounds like it's bouncing off of armor. I don't know. We'll come back to that if we need to. Let's look at a different one. Or listen to, rather. That's too much. Too much going on. Too much. We need something like very, very quick and like a or shwa, something like that. I could always record. You could always record in Audacity your own sound effects. It's not too hard. And you'd be surprised what a few filters does. It just changes it up completely. So if you know exactly what it's supposed to sound like, you could always record that. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on that. That sounds actually perfect. We'll go with something like that. Yeah, it's gonna go like ching 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 like that. So it's gonna slash and hit them all. I don't like that little extra arrow coming down at the end. It's gonna animate 6 times. We're gonna put up with that 4-frame animation. Boom. Okay. Also, I want to actually batch this, and we're gonna minimize the scale of this a bit. Let's change the scale down to like 75 a little bit. No, no, no. I don't really like that. Let's batch all of them and change the scale to like 125. No, no. That's it was a lot. It was already expanded quite a bit. Let's say 200. Now we notice that's above the target quite a bit. So let's bring it down by going to feet. Let's batch, and let's say 275. Is that 1 frame at the top? No, it's that one. That's kind of weird, huh? I don't know. It looks a little weird. I'm probably going to end up changing it. It's only 4 frames. We can also manually edit that. We can just change these cells quite a bit. Let's do that. And then we can always see the last thing that... We'll go like that. Line those up a little bit. It's going to move forward quite a bit. Turn that. It's going to actually go down. And then we'll make this go like this. And then this cell will go like that. And I actually want to edit the cell real quick and change the opacity to like 100, actually 125, just because it's going to be like kind of fading away a little bit. Much better. Okay. Spent a little extra time on that, but it's okay. This is going to be, what did I call it? Sweep? Yeah, we call it sweep. And then we'll go back to our skill, and we're going to put that animation on there. And we've got our damage formula there. It's kind of weak actually, but it hits all. And actually, since it's so weak, we'll do 15 TP. And now we're going to make one more last skill for our Primal Mantis. Let's look at him, because sometimes even looking at the art kind of inspires me to get an idea. Now, what would this creature use against you? Maybe we could have it do some sort of magic ability. It's going to attack with the piercing attack, drill. It's going to attack with the sweep attack against everybody. And maybe it can get like some sort of buff or apply a buff to the party. Or maybe we can have it do some sort of debuff. Let's make a debuff state attack for it. Yeah, let's make a debuff. What kind of debuff would this thing do? Let's make a skill called Cannibalize. Cannibalize. Cannibalize? Don't judge me. Cannibalize. I can't spell. Alright, so, wait, no, I'm in the wrong spot. Sorry. Let's actually, we'll clear that. What I meant to do is make a skill called Cannibalize. So we'll go here, Cannibalize. I think that's right. I'm sure it's not. But let's, so in case you guys don't know, mantises are actually cannibals. So we're actually going to make this skill, probably it's going to drain. This is going to be an HP, I got it. This is going to be an HP draining attack. Now what icon do we want to use for Cannibalize? Something with like a beast head or something not like a weapon attack. Because this is going to be, it really doesn't matter too much, but the little things kind of stack up and you don't want something that just kind of looks ridiculous. So spend a little bit of time finding a good one. Cannibalize. I kind of like this crazy face mask here. That would work fine if I don't immediately find a better one. I'm going to settle for that mask looking one. And I don't see a better one. Let's take that mask. Okay, so this is going to be the skill Cannibalize. It's also going to be under enemy skills that I make sweep enemy skills. I did. So it's going to be one enemy battle screen. And this is going to be, it's also going to generate TP, but it's going to be like, well, maybe this one's not going to cost or generate TP. It's just going to be an ability that it can use without generating or consuming TP. So we're going to make this HP Drain, and we're going to give it a, yeah, we'll make it physical. What else do we want to make this? We could apply another element on it. Maybe dark, because it's draining, but it's not really darkness. It's sort of like nature. We could do Venom, Cannibalize Venom. It's not really poisonous per se. I'm thinking between dark, Venom, or enfeebling, but it's not really enfeebling. It doesn't have to have more than one element, of course, but I kind of want to give it another element. Non-elemental, possibly. I kind of reserve this element for bosses, even though some non-bosses can have it. Let's give it piercing. Like it's yeah, we'll give it. So we're gonna say physical and piercing. So what did I say that was? 15, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. So we're gonna go 1 in multiple elements 15. I could type it out again, but I already just did. So we'll just copy that, paste that, save a second there. We'll say uses, and that looks good. Let's give it the possibility to critical. Do these have possibility to critical? Yes, they do. And we're also going to give it a decent damage formula, but nothing too crazy. I want to kind of include another, like it's going to have to come up to you to attack, so we're going to include its own defense as in the damage formula. So we're going to say 50 plus, it's also going to restore its life, so don't want it too strong, A.ATK times 2 plus A.DEF. And the reason why I'm not adding a negative to these is because I'm using Yanfly's, what is it called? The armor scaling. I'm using armor scaling, so I don't have to go minus B.DEF. But if you're not using armor scaling, you might want to include something like that. Alright, cool. So now we've got our third skill for our Primal Mantis, and we need to add them. So we can copy and paste that. That way we know we've added those skills right after one another, so we don't have to scroll down and find it again. So add the sweep. Now sweep is our AoE. We don't want them to be able to use that all the time, so we're going to give it a lower rating. Remember, if you give it too low of a rating, it'll never use it. So it has to, if we're using our highest number 5, we have to go 4 and 3. We can only go 5, 4, 3, and if we add a 6, then the thing that's rating 3 will never be used. Only two difference, 2 below will be used. So our possibilities here are 5, 4, 3, unless we change all of them. So maybe we'll make the, actually instead of giving it a 5, 4, 3, we'll give it a 5, 4, 4. So it's going to use drill most of the time to generate TP, and then every now and then it's going to do sweep, but it's also going to do, what's the last one? Cannibalize with the same frequency as sweep. So AoE or drain life. Decent enemy so far. We have to do a few more things. Let's go to the items. We got to think about some trash items, right? Because not all enemies would drop gold, and maybe in your game you don't want to have enemies drop gold or coins. You want them to drop like items that you sell to the vendor to make potions with, or to craft with. So let's give it a trash item that you could use to craft with, or make a weapon with, or same thing, or maybe even just sell for gold, and it just says clearly trash item. A lot of games do that, especially MMOs. They just color them gray, and they're just trash items. They have no purpose, but they're just an item that you sell for coins. So let's make a trash item for this Primal Mantis. What would he drop? Looking at his picture again for inspiration. What would he drop? Maybe an antenna, or an antennae, maybe one of his claws, let's go with antenna. My first idea was good. So we'll call it Primal Antenna, or it doesn't really matter too much, or Mantis Antenna. Antennae. Man, my spelling is on point today. Antenna. That's probably wrong. Alright. Let's find an icon for a Mantis Antenna, and we could even use like a dagger like that. that would work perfectly. Now it looks like a little bit of a dagger, but if you use your imagination, that could be an antenna. It's so thin you can't really tell, you know, so we're gonna have to go with that just to save some time. Alright, we're gonna make it a regular item. It's not consumable, there's no occasion for it, and it doesn't need any scope. And no animation because it's not a usable item, it's just a trash item. Now this is going to be an item that the player has in their inventory, so we could give it a description for it. So this is, we can say, I think I've already said, I've already made this right here. It can be sold for gold or used to synth some items. We'll leave it like that for right now. Even though it doesn't synth any items, we might use it for a synthing recipe later on. So you can give it whatever description you want. You can even use text codes in here if you're using Yanfly's message core. So it doesn't need anything else, that's it. That's basically, oh no, wait, we got one more thing. We have to give it a price if we're going to be able to give it, to sell it. So this will be, this will vary completely depending on your game. For me, I'm going to say 100 gold, and actually, since it's going to be at a certain level, I'm going to raise the price to 300 gold up here. Alright, so let's go back to our enemy and let's let the enemy have the ability to drop this item. Now, if I was smart, I would have looked at the number of that item. That would have been a good idea to do. But I found it. Okay, 415. So we're going to say, what's the probability that it's going to drop its antenna without you destroying it? We'll say 1 out of 4. Actually, 1 out of 5. 20% chance that when you kill it, you'll get the item. Now there's some other items in my game that I use that, you know, depending on your game you'll do this or not. But I'm using a plugin for Yanfly, the extra enemy drops. So I definitely want to give it the 100% chance to drop a gear point, because all enemies will drop a gear point, which is used to buy weapons and upgrades and stuff like that, and probably other things later on. Also, I want to give it the ability to drop orbs, which all enemies will drop orbs of different types. Now, what kind of orb would this one drop for me? This might change for you. For you, you can put whatever items that are pertinent to your game here, or appropriate for your game. So for me, let's see, he's probably going to be wind orb, or even let's go with wind. So compact wind orb, and then I've got different tiers, so this seems to be about the right tier for this, but maybe I'll change this up a little bit because I want this to be 75% because it's not really going to be super duper hard, and we'll go 15% and then 3% for that. And you know, this is something that you can change up. Now, what level I'm going to fight these enemies? Actually, we're not going to do this isn't a boss. We're not going to do static level. I'm going to give it a minimum and a maximum. Now, you could do these codes if you want to. If you have the enemy levels plugin, then this is some codes that you might, you probably know about. Minimum level, you can say it's minimum level that it's going to be no matter what the level of the party. The enemy will be at least this level, so you can, the enemies won't always be the same level as the party, and you know. So that means you can create areas that the player's not supposed to go into yet. So the player may not be ready for here, even if they can reach here. So I'm actually going to make their minimum level 30 and their maximum level 35. And they'll have those drops. I also want to throw in another item that I would give to most enemies, just with a small chance to get like a potion or something, you know, for restoration. We'll just give it a 20%, actually 25% chance, actually 33% chance of a potion as well. Maybe, no, actually we'll do 25 because you might have to fight quite a few of these. Now, as for experience and gold, completely depends on your ratios. If you go to your classes, you'll see you have your parameter curves right here. So the numbers you put in there really depends on what you have for your curves. My curves are pretty low here on the experience, so for all of my classes. So I really don't need too much. Don't really need too much experience, but I'll probably base it off of the previous level ones that are about the same. So we've got 82 experience for something 5 levels under. So I'm going to do 112 arbitrary here. If you go to Yanfly's site, Flying Dream has a calculator, a pretty cool spreadsheet calculator that you can use to kind of figure out the right numbers. So you'll change these up completely, but I do have a basic formula. You're going to get around 50, double the experience that you are going to get gold. So I'm going to say like 55. That would, yeah, 56 gold. We'll go ahead and do straight up 50% of that value. So is that right? That's right. Okay, now for the parameters, it's like, again, you know, a lot of this is going to be completely dependent on your game, but I do base it off of like kind of like I've used formulas in the past, but I ended up changing them constantly. So since it's such an early stage of the game, you just want to give it some numbers and test it a lot, and then see, as my party, is this level, is it too strong or is it too weak? Now, the factors that could determine if it's too strong or too weak are the parameter curves you give it. Now, I'm customizing the parameter curves. That helps me figure out the more appropriate numbers that I would use. So I've got my parameters set, and I know what each class is going to get, and it's usually a lot smaller number than the parameter curves that are built in. So you can use some plugins from Yanfly if you want to do this method yourself. I'm using base parameter control. I'm using class-based parameters, which is basically the one you just saw, where you can copy paste this and change it up however you want, put that right onto the classes. And also in the enemy levels plugin, you can specify how strong the enemies get and how much growth they get by going into the parameters of the plugin. You can basically look at that and just go over it one at a time. I think I've already talked about that before in the past too. So yeah, that's how I'm calculating what numbers. So I'm basically seeing at this level how much of my party going to have, and then at the enemy's level how much are they going to have. Because when you're using the enemy levels plugin, you're fighting an enemy and this is their base value, right? So as they get up to a higher level, these numbers are going to be increasing as they gain to a higher level. See, this will be level 20, so this won't be 72 attack, it'll be a lot higher than that. So we're going to give it probably a decent attack. We can also think of the class archetype that we're going to use for our enemies here, and I'm thinking this is probably going to be like more of a rogue type or archetype class. You know, it's got kind of like a roguish features to me. So what kind of stats parameters would a rogue have? Well, a rogue would have high agility, they'd have high attack, not so much magic defense, not the best defense, and really not a lot of magic attack. So we're going to say that the magic attack is going to be 75 and his defense is going to be really low. So his weakness is magic. We're going to give it a lot of agility. That's probably way too much, actually. That's definitely way too much. From the past ones, this is a boss value. This is way too much. Let's cut that in half, that value in half. Let's do 60 agility. We'll do 70 attack. And I'm almost guaranteeing that I'm going to have to reduce this in the near future. But we're not going to get too hung up on it, right? We want to just give it some numbers and move on and see how they play out, because you're really not going to know until you test it. If you do have Yanfly's project, get Yanfly's debugger, and you can actually play with these numbers on the fly in battle, and that helps a lot too. So let's say it's going to have really like no magic attack and pretty low defense, and then the luck will just say average value, defense average, and then it's kind of a high attack. I don't know, that might be too high, but we'll see how it plays out. Yeah, I'm almost guaranteed that's going to be too high. Let's do 65. And then for HP, you don't want to have like gigantic meat bags for enemies, but you want to give it some sort of beefiness so that they don't just die in one hit. Unless that's what you're going for, maybe you want that. I don't. I want to have at least a couple hits, unless you use an ability which are going to be stronger than your normal hits. Because a lot of my classes are going to have multiple swings. So when you have multiple swings, you got to calculate that into the HP that you put on your enemies. Alright, so it looks like we've got our enemy made. We've got our Primal Mantis made. So let's do a test battle with the Primal Mantis. So in order to actually fight the enemy, you guys know, we can't just fight him like that. We have to go to troops and add him. So let's go to our troops here. Now how I'm doing this, I'm not necessarily hand making the troops. I'm letting them be randomly generated quite a bit. In this case, I'm going to actually just include that one Mantis we made just to test it out with one person. Let's add our Primal Mantis, boom, and auto name it. But what I would normally do is I use a placeholder. You know, let's see, I make a placeholder for all of the enemy types. When I make, say, 2 more of these enemies, what I'll do is at the top I'll go to where did I put it? Oh, they're right here. So I'll use a placeholder on the enemies themselves. And I use a plugin that it's enemy swap or swap enemies plugin. I think that's what it is. So when you actually fight this enemy, it's going to be swapped out to a random enemy. But for this test, I think we've actually, yeah, okay, I'm looking at that. We're actually going to test this and see how this looks. Let's do a battle. we'll create a new event. Actually, we can't do that there because I have to declare my variables. So we'll actually go to the world map first. And I'm going to start us right here. That's actually going to do the auto run event that initializes all of our variables right here. So all of our variables that we're going to be using in our damage formulas are declared. So I can actually jump in. We'll just do a quick transport here. Transfer player. We're going to transfer the player into here. Boom. And we'll have them facing up. And we could also, while we're at it, do the transfer back out. Quick transfer. And we'll have the player face, retain, it doesn't matter. Let's select the world map. Put them just right below it. We'll have them face down since we're going to force them to go down. We'll just right click copy that, paste that, paste that. We're using Control-C, Control-V, or you can right click, copy, paste. We've got that done. Let's jump into the game. Well, no, we have to do one event, right? We're going to have to create a new event because we're going to have to do battle processing. So let's create our battle processing event. Let's go down to where we put that new enemy. And I think it's way down here. Yeah, way down here. Primal Mantis. Simple battle, can't escape, can't lose, real quick. Let's give it some sort of icon just so we can tell where it's at. And we'll save the game, do a test play, and see what happens. Now, we'll have to... I've set Driftwood to be level 30. This enemy is going to be from 30 to 35 with some random 1 to 2 variants. I also needed to specify a battle background so we could see his agility was higher than ours because he went first. Let's do a sword attack. Drill. Now I'm using no artifacts yet. I just want to see how much damage. It seems to be appropriate, not too bad, because you got to imagine by the time you get here, you're going to have some artifacts. You're going to be able to buy more gear, so you're going to take less damage than this. And you're going to have a party of 6, right? So this seems to be about right. I was pretty close. I'll have to do some more fine tuning. It did sweep there. You can see that move. It was sweeping everything, and we actually couldn't hear it because I had the sound muted. But I actually could just bring it back up and just to see how it sounds. And then we could just mute this other track here. Let's just do that again. Let's fight it again. I want to hear how the sound effects go on his abilities. Cannibalize. Nice, short and sweet. Yeah, I like it. And we can also check the frequency of the abilities that he's using. Yeah, imagine a party of 6 with better gear. It's perfect how it is. So there you go, guys. We created a monster. Hope you guys like this new little mini-series. I don't know how many episodes I'll do on it. Maybe I'll do another one if you guys like it. I'm trying different stuff on the channel. So yeah, this is Let's Make a Monster, I guess, episode 1, where we do the Primal Mantis. And I don't really know what I'm going to do beforehand. I'm sort of just like, alright, let's go into it. Let's make a monster. What area are we designing the monster for? Do a quick recap. We look at the area first, and then we pick, okay, what kinds of creatures will we fight here? So then we find the art for that kind of creature that we would fight there. And then we think about what kind of skills would that character or that, enemy, that monster make. Let's make a monster. So that's all stuck in my head. We look at the enemy and we think, what kind of abilities will this monster use? And then we design those abilities. We create quick little animations for it. We could even do action sequencing if we want to go to a whole nother level with it. And that's pretty much it. You to give it its stats. You'll have to just fine tune it quite a bit. All the numbers will be different for your project, but you got to see how I did it in my project. And if you guys like this, please give this video a thumbs up. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. I really appreciate any support you guys have to throw at this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.